They call this the Widowmaker, and we're going to show you today why the Widowmaker is a Widowmaker. We're going to plug this in hot, and we're going to show you the potential of power on this cord. So I'm going to do it wrong today, just so that you can see the problems that the Widowmaker can do. In my other videos, you've seen my generator hookup. I use the Widowmaker or the suicide cord for a cheap way to backfeed my power. This is a manual operation for your generator to backfeed. Is it 100% safe? No. If you're stupid and you mess up, you can really blow up some stuff. And you have the potential of 220 really shocking the shit out of you. It's taking power from my generator and backfeeding it to the power in my house. And if I don't shut the main breaker off, I have the potential of hurting people down the line, and if the power comes back on, I can blow up my generator. Or if I stick this in and start up my generator, I have potential of 220 here. You plug this in, this becomes energized if you have your breaker on. Or if you plug this into the generator, this becomes energized and you have 220. And if you don't shut off your main breaker when you're doing this, you're putting power back on the grid.
Why is power back on the grid a problem?
If you put power back on the grid, you can hurt the linemen down line that are working on the power. If your power goes off, even if your power's off, shut your main breaker off before you hook this up. And when you hook this up, make sure all the breakers are off before you start your generator. Make sure when you plug this in and plug this into the generator, the power is off. So we're going to go out and plug this into the power and show you what the 220 is on this side. 3 steps. The first step is shut the main breaker off. Second step is plug in this into the plug with the breaker off and plug this into the generator with the generator off. Don't start anything till all these plugs are plugged in. Then start your generator, turn the breaker on your generator, and then turn the breaker on in your sub panel to backfeed your electricity. And make sure your main breaker is off at all times when you're running a backfeed with the Widowmaker. I'm showing you what happens if you have power here on the Widowmaker. And I want to show you the potential here, the dangers. So I'm plugging in the plug and I'm turning on the breaker. Now this is hot. I've plugged the plug into the wall, I've turned the breaker on, and this is what makes this a Widowmaker. Right now, I have 220 potential here. Why am I only getting 190? 230 volts right there. 233. And you can burn your screwdriver, you could hurt yourself. It just tripped out the breaker. That is a Widowmaker. 230 volts across my Klein. You can see where it burnt up the Klein. So that's why you have to follow my steps. Shut the main breaker off. Get these both plugged in before you turn any power on or start any generators. This is potential to kill you. So when your power goes out, you still have to shut the main breaker off. So step number 1, shut the main breaker off. That kills the power to your house, and it also saves you from putting power out on the grid. First thing is shut your power off. You think you don't have to shut your power off because your electricity's off? No. Shut the main breaker off. You're going to energize your electricity in your house, and you don't want to put it back on the grid. Step 2 is to plug in the Widowmaker on both ends. Make sure your breaker's off in your panel and the generator is off. Step 3, start up the generator. Step 3 is to turn the breaker on in the sub panel. Step 4 is to turn the breaker on the generator back to the power to the house. I killed the power to the generator and the power from the city is back on. So you have to be careful. So the next step, I shut the power up from the generator, and now I'm shutting off the breaker to the plug on the reverse when you get power back on. Step one, shut your generator off, kill the main breaker on your generator, shut the breaker off that feeds your 50 amp plug at your sub panel, and remove the Widowmaker. So at this point, the Widowmaker with the breaker off the sub panel and the breaker off on the generator, the Widowmaker is safe. So I'm going to remove the Widowmaker. And then my next step is to go turn the main breaker on because there's power back on the grid. My neighbor's lights came on, so I know we have power back in the neighborhood. I'm going to shut these off, and then I'm going to go to the main breaker. So we just do everything in reverse. The breaker is off to that plug. So now we turn the main breaker back on. Is the Widowmaker OSHA approved? No. Is it a cheap way to put power back on your house when your power goes out? Yes. And if you do it and follow the steps, you won't get hurt. But there is a potential of 220 if you don't follow my steps. So just follow my steps and don't hurt yourself. If you're not confident, don't do it. Spend the money, get a transfer switch. But this is an easy way to do it. Have a great day. Be safe.